Today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the DC Collectibles DC Comics Designer Series Greg Capullo figure number 17, Aquaman. Spot is really going backwards because we've kind of really looked at the later figure first, Superman, then Green Lantern. Now, figure number 17, Aquaman here. Aquaman is given his more classic outfit, although I have to say a little bit more on the gold portion of the color spectrum rather than being the orange that we traditionally see with him. He also comes with his trident, and he's figure number 17 from the designer series Greg Capullo wave. For a reference point, there is what Greg Capullo's Aquaman would look like. And then the back of the package, your 4 figures in total would be Aquaman, GCPD Batman, Green Lantern Hal Jordan, and Superman. In this case, the Superman, Hal Jordan, and Aquaman were all sculpted by Jonathan Matthews. GCPD Batman was sculpted by Jonathan Matthews and Paul Harding. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up. When we come back, though, we're going to get a better look at the Greg Capullo Designer Series figure number 17, Aquaman. There's more heading way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Unlike both the Superman and the Batman that we had a look at on this channel, Aquaman at least comes with an accessory. A gold plastic sculpted trident, which looks very nice, actually. It feels a little on the fragile side, but I mean, it's to be expected when you usually get long-handled weapons like this. The plastic quality on these is good, but again, just be careful of the handle itself. He does have one accessible hand to hold the trident, only one, and it's just a simple case of sliding it through the whole socket. The other hand, on the other hand, is completely flat, which is a debatable topic I would like to touch base on. Well, I do appreciate that likely, when you're displaying Aquaman, you're probably gonna, be simulating some sort of swimming gesture with Aquaman, looking as if he's, swimming through the watery, the watery terrains. But I don't like the fact when figure companies, I'm gonna take the trident out of his hand to do this, to discuss this. I don't like when figure companies kind of give you an expectation that this is how you're going to be displaying the figure. Without factoring in, okay, I'm going to have him displayed in a watery kind of swimming pose. His hand seems somewhat on the ridiculous side. It looks like he also wants to shake your hand as an alternative to the swimming pose that you can put him in. But even like to have his hand flat, I wish they could have given you an interchangeable glove that you could popped out just for a regular closed fist. I may not likely display him swimming, so if I have him just standing like so with a trident in his hand, this flat, just arched, a pointed hand really seems kind of unnecessary, and it just looks a little out of place, I suppose. Let's have a look at his face. We'll bring the camera in. There we go. The face is good, and I kept trying to place where I've seen the face from. You could say, well, Greg Capullo's art designs, but no, there was something else that this face reminded me of. And then, of course, watching an episode of it, it reminded me. His face looks like Dexter Morgan from the TV show Dexter, one of my favorite shows. Of course, the only thing that's omitted from this figure to make it look truly like Dexter is the swapping out of the blonde hair in favor of more of a dark red colored hair. But I think the face looks pretty much like him. I do like the little wrinkles and stuff that they put in him. Surprisingly, he also doesn't have that weird wet look that Superman ended up having. If you were going to give any figure that sort of wet look, why they didn't give it to Aquaman instead of the Man of Steel? In fact, you know what? For comparisons, let's bring the camera back a little bit here. Let's bring in the Man of Steel that we already had a look at, and you can even see, again, another example of why, oh why, did they have to give him such a slicked look when Aquaman, again, gets off completely fine. In fact, the more and more I look at the other figures from this wave, I hate to almost admit it, that I find myself disliking Superman even more. Now, Superman has more the armored up New 52 design. Aquaman gets something a little bit more classic, I suppose. Still, of course, a new 52 design, but something a little more rooted in a classic design. The one thing that's different, though, is as opposed to giving him more of a traditional orange color with the green pants, they instead give him something more like a darker caramel gold. It's different, but I don't think it's different in a bad way. The gold looks quite nice, and I do like the, again, that scaled sculpting that they put into the torso as well. And traditional things like the Aquaman belt are still present. And let's not, of course, forget the green pants, little fins on the back. The green has all been painted in on with more of a wet color as opposed to matte, which I think works well for Aquaman. You would not want to see this guy, I think, with a very matte painted glove or pants. A wet look fits him more perfectly, I think. I'm really surprised that I like this so much. Seeing this in an orange I would have preferred, but seeing it in the gold, I don't feel it's off-putting. I'm actually enjoying the look of this figure. Maybe it's also because he does look like Dexter Morgan, I don't know. When it comes to his posability, it's the same as what we've seen with the other two figures. His head does rotate all the way around. Aquaman's shoulders hinge out. A rotation all the way around on those. He has a rotation all the way around on the bicep, a bend at the elbow, nothing in the wrist, but as you can see, the glove does rotate, which again makes me think that they could have swapped or had a swappable glove portion if you didn't want to have the flat palm. Upper torso does have a crunch. There's a waist swivel, rotates all the way around. Forward and back motion on the legs, but again limited by the sheer size of Aquaman's tush, which is kind of limiting some motion movement back and forth. He does have a split cut on the thigh, though, or on the split cut on the overall leg, I should say. And then he has a 3/4 split on the leg, allowing a swivel on the thigh portion. Double hinge on the knee, and a hinge and rotation in the foot. I think of the three figures, let's get him to stand here. You know what? We'll bring all three figures in. There's Aquaman, providing, of course, he'll stand. There's Superman, the first figure that we had to look at. And then there's Green Lantern. Or specifically, more so, there's Hal Jordan. Still has this weird thing with his leg. I don't know why his leg angles out the way it does. The other two figures seem perfectly fine, but just Aquaman, or Green Lantern, I should say, his leg just angles out, and I can't for the life of me get that to bend back into place. Speaking of can't for the life of me also get him to properly stand. There we go. All right, so there's your three figures in this wave. The only one we have not looked at is GCPD, Batman, and I can't get, all these guys are falling over. Display stands, my 2017 New Year's resolution, display stands for reviewing. But essentially, there's your three figures. Of the three, I think the Hal Jordan is probably the best of the lot. The weakest being the Superman, and the middle of the mark being Dexter here, or excuse me, Aquaman. So there you go, guys. These are currently available now in stores, more importantly, comic book stores. If you are a fan of the Greg Capullo designs, you might want to pick these guys up. Today's toy spot, we were looking at the Greg Capullo designer series from DC Collectibles, and this was Aquaman. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more toy spots heading your way. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.